Hello all, thank you so much for watching. In this project I have basically built a mobile cart for my Skil contractor table saw. The inspiration for this came from one of the videos posted by Bear Mountain Builds, where he goes into detail of how he built this for his DeWalt table saw. In my case I'm using a Skil, so I had to make some tweaks to his design for enabling it to accommodate mine. As you see, it has got rolling casters, so it can be tucked into a corner as well. The wings expand to the left and to the right so that larger pieces of wood can be cut with the saw. I also have an expandable wing in the front so that a long piece of wood can also be cut. In this video, I'm going to walk you through step by step about how I built this specific stand to suit my Skil table saw. One of the key aspects of the design is the use of lap joints, which makes every joint extremely strong. We'll go through it as we go through the build. One of the other additions I made to my design is I have a drawer opening at the bottom and it runs against wooden sliders. The use of wooden sliders helped conserve some cost compared to steel sliders. Here I'm first building the legs. The way you're seeing this is the foundation for everything else. The use of lap joints. I'm just joining two pieces of wood. One is cut shorter than the other and screwing them together and doing two of these legs for each side. So once I finish assembling this, then I'll put them together to create the frame for one side. The use of lap joints along with glue and screws makes this an extremely strong foundation or a frame for everything else that's going to come on top. The notch created as a result of attaching the two pieces of different sized woods is being used to hold another piece there, which becomes part of the leg on one side. So I'm creating two structures like these, which is going to be two legs on one side, another two legs on the other side, and they're going to be joined by cross pieces. And now we're seeing I'm adding a couple of supports at the top of that. Now this is so that I can mount another horizontal piece running between those two supports so that it becomes another support for the plywood that's going to come on top. What you're seeing here is the use of pocket hole joinery because the two legs have to be connected side to side, and so this is how they are attached through pocket holes. I'm creating more pocket holes for the pieces that connect both the legs at the top. So what I'm doing here is creating a small block that is attached to the leg, and it's going to be done on all the four legs, and the reason for this is because it's going to be a plywood platform that's going to mount on top of that, and the table saw is going to sit on that. So this is the plywood platform I referred to. I'm just making some notches so that it will fit around the legs. One of the key things to note here is that while using the jigsaw, I have some painter's tape that's pasted on that so that it doesn't lead to rip outs in the plywood. Except for the pocket holes that I used at the top to connect to the platform at the top, all of the screws used in this build are 2.5-inch screws. So now this cross piece that you're seeing is going to be the one on which we're going to build the platform on which the table saw is going to sit, right? So you have one piece of plywood at the bottom that you just saw me installing, and there's going to be another piece of plywood that sits on top of this on which the table saw is going to come and sit. I would also highly recommend using a level at each phase of the build to make sure that everything is aligned and even and at a fairly good horizontal level. Now, mounting the casters, I use spacing blocks to mark a little bit from the edge and then drill the hole and install the casters with lag screws. This is the other piece of plywood that I referred to earlier on which the table saw is going to sit. The pocket holes shown here will be used to connect the plywood at the top. They use 1.25 inch pocket hole screws. Now what I'm doing then is cutting notches for the guide. The cross piece that actually connects the two legs at the top needs two notches so the guide can move freely from left to right as you move it on the table saw. I made some errors in the measurement from side to side. I just measured the table width. I forgot to include the one that locks the guide, and then this side some indentations are there. I forgot to include those because the saw was having difficulty fitting into this. Instead of redoing the whole thing, I just cut some notches out. In any case, these are going to get covered and are probably not going to be noticeable. So at least this way I can move forward with this. I've got a mark for miter slots on this piece of plywood, so that has to be cut out using my crosscut sled, so that when I fix it there, the sled or miter gauge can actually flow through from the saw into the wooden surface. The foldable brackets will sit on this arm, so I'm just creating that and adding some notches so that it can fit in. Now I'm off to building the drawer. So here I'm using the wooden slide. Instead of using a steel slide, which is going to be much more expensive, I'm just going to be using wooden slides, and that is sufficient for a shop cabinet. The way this is done is that a notch is created between two parallel pieces of wood and spaced out by the spacer blocks that you're seeing there. If my wood is about 3.25 inch thick, I'm going to leave a gap of about 3.25 plus 1/8 inch, and that creates like a narrow channel through which you can actually glide the base of the drawer. You will see that the drawer sides are inset from the drawer base by a little bit, and the reason for that is because, as you know, we created the two channels in the cabinet, so this piece of wood has to slide within the channel, so this overhang actually allows that to happen smoothly. A test fit shows that the sliding mechanism works properly, right? That overhang, as you're seeing, is sliding through the two channels that are being created. So this shows the completed drawer, slides out smoothly, and what I've also done is added a walnut drawer pull. So I'm installing the foldable brackets by having it inset from the edge by 3/4 inch, and then another 1/16 inch it overhangs at the left side where you're seeing the L shaped, And the reason for that is to give it some breathing room to be able to fold in and fold out. And then I'm using it to attach it to the two sides of the table for the folding wings. And then I'm also using a similar mechanism for my wing that extends at the front of the table, right? The difference is that the two side wings are using 18-inch brackets and the front one is using a 24-inch bracket. I'm now removing the narrow piece of wood that I used to help me while I mounted the brackets, because working as one person, you need all the help that you can get to mount this onto the surface. And there you go, it folds perfectly. Hopefully you found this video useful. The only recommendation I would have is to go a little bit wider and not having to do the cutting that I had to do to accommodate the width of the table saw. So just be a bit more conservative and add another 2 more inches to the left and to the right.